Dr. Clotworthy's finest itching inducer. Completely natural. 100% pure ground rose hips. No harsh chemicals.
Varick trailed off from reading. Why did it matter that a prank was all natural? Was there really such a strong demand in the joke shop industry for such things? He shrugged to himself and looked back through the large stone entryway, back to the stables where his grandfather, Randolph, was busy petting tallywags. Rudely named, ill-tempered but highly bribable, and, ironically, a gelding, Tallywags was Randolph's favorite horse. The stables were quiet at this time of night. All the stable hands had left hours ago to have dinner and attend to whatever people who actually had to work for a living did after their workday had ended. Even knowing this, Varick listened hard for anyone besides himself and his grandfather. Only the gentle noises of sleepy horse breathing resounded. Well, that and Randolph's soft words to the beloved animal, and the occasional crunch of apple slices. "Better hurry up," Randolph cooed, letting the horse lip another piece out of his palm. The soft words floated easily through to Varick, just inside the attached carriage house. In the stall next to Tallywags, Silken Sunflower was stirring. They should have brought more treats. She'd make a fuss if she saw her neighbor getting goodies and not her, so Varick returned his attention to the mission. He'd read the safety precautions 3 times already. Don't breathe it in. Don't let it get onto your skin or into your eyes. Don't leave within reach of children. That last one made Varick grin. He was still a child, technically, for the next year and a half-ish. Wearing an old pair of leather gloves, he carefully unscrewed the lid of the jar and set it aside onto the mounting step of his older brother's phaeton, a sleek, sporty little open-topped carriage. Then, covering his mouth and nose with the sleeve of his evening jacket, Varick began to sprinkle the phaeton's seat with the fine powder. It shone like dust motes in the faint light of the petrol-scene lamps they'd just barely turned on, before disappearing into the plush velvet upholstery. If anyone asked, they were here to visit Tallywags, which wasn't a lie, just not the whole truth. That was how Varick and Randolph survived the rest of the scorpion nest that was their family. The other members of the Pendragon clan were always trying to take. Joy, confidence, secrets, peace of mind, pride, anything they could. So Randolph had taught Varick long ago how to only give over the barest bits of information. Never anything extra. Silken Sunflower was starting to nicker at Randolph, who showed his empty hands to her. "Varick," he called softly, a touch of beseeching in his voice. Silken Sunflower wasn't buying it. She shook her head and stretched her nose toward Randolph's waistcoat pocket. "I'm nearly done," Varick whisper called back. He'd faced away from the phaeton before removing his face from his sleeve to answer. Maybe he was being overly cautious, but he didn't want to risk inhaling the fine powder. While Varick sprinkled the last bit of fine velvet seating with Dr. Clotworthy's finest itching inducer, Randolph allowed Silken Sunflower to explore his pockets, which left small, golden hairs across the expertly woven fabric. She might start throwing a tantrum otherwise. "Done," Varick announced. It would not teach Magnus not to leave cat poo outside the door of Varick's apartments after the housemaids had been in. Though better outside his door to end up on his freshly shined shoes than under his pillow and worse, which was precisely why Varick kept his doors locked. No, Magnus could not know Varick was behind his future itching fit, so the lunkhead would learn nothing. But Varick would feel some small, twisted sense of victory while his brother harmlessly suffered. No members of the staff could be blamed, so no one would be unfairly sacked. Varick had checked this with Randolph, just in case there was some risk he hadn't thought of. And though his grandfather never partook directly in Varick's petty revenges, he'd long been there as a sort of guide. You didn't hurt the innocent, no matter how badly you yourself were hurting. That was the rule. It was frustrating at times, but Varick agreed. Randolph had taught him to understand power dynamics and fairness, or rather, the unfairness of the world. Tonight had not been frustrating, though.